Okay, I'm just going to give a real quick overview of Wild Game Tracker for iPhone. I just want to go through the kind of core functionality and how you use the app, whether you're a beginner or not, or someone that just wants to know all the features. That's what this kind of video tutorial is for. So just kind of taking a look at the app. Obviously, its core functionality is for tracking animals, whether that be if you're a hunter, it's important to kind of pattern big game animals for setting up blinds and stands so you understand where they're coming through. If you're a fisher, you want to know what times of year fish are in certain locations, and this app makes that really easy to do both those things. So if you look at the top there, it says long press to add markers. That's the most basic functionality. So let's just pretend that I was in the mountains somewhere over here. I'm just going to zoom in for a second, and I spotted a bighorn sheep on this mountainside. So I can see that mountainside there. Oh, I see a bighorn sheep there. I can long press, and it's going to give me the option on the left-hand side to pick an animal type. So it's got big game, fish, bird, predator, small game, outposts, and areas. And so you can see the right-hand picker wheel adjust to whatever I have scrolled to on the left-hand side there. So in this case, I want to find bighorn sheep. So I'm going to scroll to that bighorn there. In this case, I'm going to say it was a ram, so I'm going to add a description there. If I wanted to add a date and change the date, it's always going to give you the current date, but I can change that if I want. If I saw this before or a couple days ago, I could always change the date. If I was a game cam guy, I could do pictures, upload pictures. I'm going to show you that in a second, and I could change the date to when that picture was on the game cam. So let's just do that. Let's add a picture. Let's pretend that I'm out in the woods and I saw a ram. I don't have one in front of me right now, but I do have a picture of a ram that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go here, and I can choose from either my gallery or the camera. In this case, my grandma's got an old picture she did that I'm going to use as my picture of ram. So I'm going to go camera, and I'm just going to go in on that picture, take a really quick snapshot here. And that looks good enough to me. I'm going to use that as my picture. Obviously in the wild you're going to use an actual picture of an animal. And then from there I can just hit submit. And that's going to add a marker to my screen that has the description and the date. And if I've added a picture, it's going to give a pop-up like you just see there. So it's going to give a pop-up like that so that I can remember what the heck I saw there in that marker. Now, other things, and I can just dismiss that picture when I want. Most of the time, to be honest, I don't add pictures to most markers I have, but if I see something that's relevant, then I can add a picture to it. It's a good feature. Other things within this marker, there's a couple features or functions that the little compass icon has. It has both the ability to navigate to that marker, so if I wanted to drive there, I can do that. So, and I can also, if I want to send this point to my buddy, maybe I got a buddy that I want to share where I saw this bighorn ram with, I can do that as well. So all I do is click on that little compass icon there. And then you're going to see that it's going to go to maps. Now, if I want to actually share this point, all I need to do is I just need to click on the little marker that it comes up there. And notice that it gives me lots of options. So as soon as I clicked on the bighorn pin in maps there, I can hit share, and that's going to allow me text, email, or to my buddies. It can do WhatsApp. I think it can do a bunch of things. If I click on that share button, notice that it gives me a whole bunch of options in messaging apps that I can send that, and it's going to send that location. For example, if I wanted to send it via text message, I could do this. I could just hit the messages app, and it's going to send that location. We'll cancel that for now. I could email it if I want, and it's going to open up the email app. And you can see same kind of thing. It's going to give that location. So easy to kind of save those. And the other thing that I can do from in here is I can also navigate to that app right away. So I just can click on here, what's the quickest driving directions, and it's going to generate that for me. And so it's going to allow me just to go to that pin whenever I want. So really quick, easy access right from Wild Game Tracker to your GPS app on your phone. So I'm just going to go back to the app. So that's what you can do inside the pin. The other kind of little red icon there is if I didn't want that marker, I can just click on the red icon and it's going to delete that and it's gone. Okay? So next thing I want to talk about, that's how you add markers. Next thing I want to talk about is adding an area. So let's pretend that there was a chunk of land over here that I all of a sudden got access to. And so we'll pretend that this little area here, I have access to hunt. I just found the guy's contact information and I wanted to add him to the app. So area comes with a few extra features that you're not going to see with the other marker types. So if I long press on the map here and I scroll to area, notice that there's 3 new text boxes that appear. And so in this case, I could just say, I don't know, I'm going to add a description of the place. I'm going to call it Backwoods Park, we'll call it, which is just a made-up name. And then I'm just going to say the contact information was Bob Backwoods. So I could enter in that contact information. I could enter in a phone number. I'm just going to put in a fake phone number, 403-123-4-5-6-7. And I'm going to put in a fake email as well, bob@back.com. Okay, and then I could put a picture of Bob if I want. I'm going to pretend I'm Bob for a second. Just do that. All these things are optional. We already kind of showed you how to do the picture. Just going to do that real quickly. Flip my camera. There we go. I'm going to pretend to be Bob. Good enough. Use photo. And when I hit submit now, when I add an area, it's going to get me to do another step here. So I'm going to hit submit. And notice it says tap around the outer border of the area, click done when you're done. So if I have this property, I can actually still scroll around and I start clicking around that property. And it's going to start adding lines. And so it's going to start drawing for me. If I click, 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 click. However I want to do this, I can scroll in and out and be as precise as I want to be. As long as I'm not tapping, it's not marking, and so I can just mark, mark, and then when I'm done, I just click on done, and it's going to mark that property. So now I have Bob's property marked, okay, and then I can also click on the icon, and I can not only see what Bob looks like if I want, if I chose to add a picture, but I could phone, or I could text, or I could email directly. So if I click on phone, okay, it's going to pop up there, call this number, and I could call it right away. I don't think I want to do that right now, though, so I'm not going to do that. If I click on that marker again, if I want to text, it's going to take me to my texting app. You're going to see that in a second here too, and that's an option. Or if I wanted to email Bob, it's the same thing for email. It's going to do the same kind of thing. It's going to take me to my mail app. I'm going to pop that up right away. Okay, so really easy to contact, guys. Where this is going to benefit you is a lot of times you get someone access to someone's land 1 year, and then it's not maybe your buddy all the time, and you save their contact information in your contacts, but you forget what their name is and whatever. This is a way so you can save all that contact info right inside the marker itself, so you don't have to remember anything. All I got to know is, oh, this is the land I want to hunt this weekend. I click on that. Okay. I know what the guy looks like if I took his picture. I don't know if you always want to do that. Probably wouldn't take people's picture that much, but I at least can phone him right away, email or text, and then you're good to go. Okay, and then easy. We do lots of research and scouting out new places. Why would you want to have to do the same work every year? This is a way for you to kind of save that info and contact the guy as quickly as you can. Maybe you got an animal down in there and you want to get your truck. You want to phone the guy real quick. This is the quickest way to probably do that. Okay, so that's how you add markers. Let's go through some of the other features. I'm just going to hit track. It's going to take me back to the city. So when you hit the track button down at the bottom there, on the bottom right, okay, what that does is that takes you, so that centers the map on you. So whether I scroll over here, next time I get a GPS setting, it's going to scroll me right back to where I am. So it's got me back to where I am in the city here. The other two buttons, or let's just go through the next button. The next thing beside it right there is you have the compass. And so if I click on the compass, now if I turn my phone, or in this case my iPad, it's gonna navigate based on kind of a compass setting, and so I know which direction I'm going, and I can find my way through the woods. Okay, I'm just going to turn back to just the regular track for a minute. The two buttons above there, I already showed you how to send a marker, so it's easy to send waypoints right inside the markers itself. But the other two buttons there, I can email my location, not a marker location, and I can text my location. So maybe I just want to tell my buddy where I'm at. This is great if you get your truck stuck. Oh, I gotta send a text to my buddy, come pull me out. It's happened to me a few times as well. Boom, and I can do that. Okay, really easy. Okay, it's gonna send that latitude, longitude as a Google Maps location, so he can come find you and pull you out or whatever. Okay, or maybe it's just a fishing spot you want to send them to. Okay, if you're at meet up in the boats or whatever. Okay, moving to the left hand side there, you're going to see that you have two different views. So you have street view and satellite view. Now there's going to be times when maybe you want to use the street view, you want to know where streets are and how to get to different places. It might be easier to use the street view. Probably by default it's usually set to the satellite view, but that kind of depends on what you want. It's nice to have access to both. And then just above there you have route tracking. Now what route tracking does, and it's not going to be great on my iPad, because on my iPad it doesn't really have GPS. It bases positioning on Wi-Fi signals. So this isn't the best device to show that, and that's why that blue circle's around there. But if I turn on route tracking, what you're going to notice is that pretty soon you'll start seeing a green line kind of tracing where I'm going. Okay, and so what that is that's gonna track me as I go. You can see a line showed up there now. Wherever I go, that's going to track me. Now, like I said, with the iPad, which doesn't have true GPS and just depends on Wi-Fi, that's going to be a little erratic, me sitting in my basement of my house. But when you're in the woods, that's going to be very accurate with your phone's GPS. And what I like to do before I leave, when I park my truck, when I'm going into the woods somewhere, first thing that I do is I hold down on the screen, and then I mark my truck here. Mark my truck. I could put a description, but I don't need to. I can just mark my truck. And then wherever I parked, I know where that is. I've turned on route tracking. And then when I want to get back to where my truck, I simply turn on the compass, and then I follow the track right back to my truck. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. When you're using a compass based on a phone, the sensors are pretty good if it's calibrated. So if you notice that it seems a little off, just do a few circles with the phone in your hand, and that's gonna calibrate your compass. The other area that sometimes the compass will struggle is if you're in your truck and there's a whole bunch of interference or something like that. That will be the case. But when you're out in the middle of the woods, my compass on my phone always works spot on because there's nothing to give interference out there. So the compass on your phone is a good option. One thing I would say, if you're using tracking and you're using the compass and things like that, and this is your only GPS device in the woods, which it can work great for, is I would carry a battery pack as well. And maybe a battery pack like I have with a solar panel or something. Some people have those campfire kind of chargers as well. But just knowing that the battery life on your cell phone is not quite as good as a battery life on a standalone GPS, I would recommend for sure bringing a battery pack if you're using those features. Just going through a few other things. The last couple things that I kind of wanted to go through is at the top we also have a location bar. You can see there it always shows your current latitude and longitude as well as your altitude, so you always kind of know where you're at. I always find the altitude interesting when I get up in the mountains, how high you get. Some other things there, important information for hunters. We have kind of the temperature and time bar there. And so it says what time sunrise and sunset are, as well as the temperature. So right now it's currently 9 degrees Celsius and the wind is 11 kilometers an hour from the east, southeast. And so it gives you wind directions there, which is really important for hunters, especially I know bow hunters myself. I really pay attention to that as well. So those are kind of important things. Right now they're set to metric because I'm in Canada, but they'll automatically adjust to imperial if you are in the US. And that's about it. I'm going to turn off my route tracking, which is making a little bit of a mess because I'm on my iPad in my house there. But that's kind of the prime functionality of my app. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. I think my contact information is available in the App Store. Beyond that, hopefully you kind of figured out how to use the app. And then I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for tuning into the video.